Hey guys, John here with RealTruck.com. Today I want to show you how to install the Kargo Master Congo Pro roof rack on this 2014 Jeep Wrangler. As you can see here, we've got everything out of the box for our Congo Pro base roof rack, and what that entails is your front and rear hoops that goes over the front of your by your windshield and on the back by your rear window, all your brackets to attach them, and also your rails that run from the front to the back to hook the two hoops together. So let's get this on the Jeep. All right guys, so we're ready to put our first piece of our safari rack on the Jeep, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with the front hoop that goes up and around the front windshield, and as you can see we got it laid out here, and we also have the screws or bolts that are a torx or a hex head bolt, and we're going to use those, and what we have to do then is put them together basically just like any other bolt that you're going to be putting on your vehicle. So your split washer or lock washer, depends on what you want to call it, will go on first, and just slide that up on there, and then take your flat washer and put it on, and just go through, and you can see here we've already did all of our other bolts. All right, so what we need to do here before we can install our front hoop is we need to remove some bolts from our Jeep. And what we're going to do then is take these two right here out and these two right here in the front, and then those nylon washers are going to go in here behind our hoop, and I'll show you guys how to do that, and then we'll put our bolts through. So what you're going to want to do then is get a buddy to help you with it, because that hoop is kind of big, bulky, and it's just a little bit too heavy to try and hold both sides up and put it on the front of here by yourself. So we're going to get these bolts out of here. I'm going to get somebody to give me a hand, and we'll get that up on here and show you how to bolt it up. Okay, so what we're going to do then is go over to the other side and pull the ones off on the other side, and we'll be ready to attach our front hoop. All right guys, so those little nylon washer spacers things, just so you know where they go, when you pull out your old factory bolts, you'll notice there's an indent in there where the bolts set in, sort of like the one you can see around this bolt head here. You're going to set that nylon washer in there, and then get a friend to help you put this up on here and start one side while you get the other side started. And I've gone ahead and done that. Got all the bolts started in, so we don't have to worry about this thing falling off and damaging our vehicle while we're doing this. So at this point, you can go ahead and tighten these up and go over and tighten the other side up, and then we're ready to go to the back and attach the rear hoop. All right guys, so we got the front all together. We're ready to start putting our rear hoop on the back here for our rack. And one of the things that we're going to do with this particular Jeep is, because it still has the factory bumpers on it, the owner wants to keep these on for right now. So what we have then is we have this no drill mounting plate. And what this is going to allow us to do, instead of taking our bracket for our rear hoop and drilling it into the bumper, which you guys know if you own one of these are just plastic covers, there's no metal, so there's nothing going to hold anything. You mount this onto the frame right here, and then your mounting plate for your back hoop is going to mount onto this. Now what this is going to do essentially is there's a bracket in here that holds the bumper. It's just just something to make it a little stronger on the sides. And we're going to take the two bolts out of it where it goes into the frame, and that's where this is going to go. However, because of the design of that bracket, what we need to do is take our H spacer, and we're going to put it on the bracket and behind here. So it's going to be on here something like this. And then we're going to take these bolts that come with our kit, and we're going to run these through. Because of the design of this, we need the longer bolt. We can't reuse the factory ones. And that's going to allow us to set this up so that it's going to sit out here really nice over top of the bumper, allow us to actually put our hoop on. Now, something to keep in mind, before you get this thing all tightened up and down, you want to make sure that you take your carriage bolts and install them from the bottom of this up. and that way they'll be ready to go. Otherwise, what'll happen is that you'll get this on, you won't be able to get these in. So let's get this mounted up so we can get this hoop on and show you how cool this thing is. So there you go. We've got our mounting brackets installed. So we're ready at this time then to go ahead and start putting our back hoop together and get it onto the Jeep. So let's get that done. We've got our no drill brackets mounted up to the back of our Jeep. So we're ready to start putting our rear hoop together. Take our legs for our rear hoop and we're going to insert the rubber bushings into them. Really easy to do. You just get them lined up into the holes and just push them down in. Just like so. You can see that one's in there really nice. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Once you get these lined up and started, then they just go right in just like so. And then we'll take the bushing and we'll put it in there. Now what that does is that stops you from running your bolt all the way through the rubber bushings here. And there you go, that's in, just that simple. We'll do the other leg, and then we're going to attach these to the top of our hoop. Okay, so what we're gonna do then is our mounting brackets, we're just gonna go ahead and attach those on here. Now these we wanna leave loose. I'm gonna go ahead and just run that in a little bit, but we don't wanna tighten that up because we may have to take it back off when we put our bars on up the top. Just depends, because you can see here, guys, there's two different holes. That's a height adjustment, just so that we get the right height on it. And so I'm just going to run this down to hold it in place for now. Okay, and then I'll just hold that there for now so it doesn't fall off. And I'm going to put the one on the other side, and then we're going to set this up on the back of the Jeep and check our height. What we've done then is we've went ahead and set our rear hoop up on the back of our JK Jeep here, and you can see that the height is perfect. Everything's going to work out nicely. But what I would suggest that you guys do is enlist the aid of the same buddy that helped you with the front hoop, because it's a little bit awkward to try to do both sides of this yourself. So once we have this up on here, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our bolts or our nuts on top of our carriage bolts down here on the bottom of the bracket to hold this to the back of the Jeep. Now, the bolts that we put in for the sides to mount this on, leave those loose still, because we've got some top bars that are going to have to go on here, and we want to be able to move this back and forth to get the right length before we tighten everything up. So let's get this attached, and then we'll get to the top bars. When you go to tighten this up, there's a couple ways you can go about doing this. As you can see here, we've taken our back hoop back off of here. It's easier to do that if you want to just get in here with a ratchet and tighten those up. Since we already know which hole we're mounting it in, it's not a big deal. Or you could just leave it together, put the whole thing on, and get in here with a wrench, but you don't have a lot of room to do that, to turn a wrench. So we just took it off to simplify things. Okay, so we've got that on there. We're going to go over and do the other side, and then we're going to put our rear hoop bar back on here, and then start attaching our top bars. So let's get this all done. All right, so we've got our hoops installed, our rear hoop and our front A-frame. So the next thing we're going to do is install our rails here. Really easy. You can see how they've got the half circles on them here. On this end, it tips down. You want to make sure if this end is towards the front. Now, you can space these any way you like, you know, as far as the distance in between them goes, but we have another little treat that we're going to be adding to this a little bit later here. And so for that, we need to make sure that we space this bar and the one on the other side 38 inches apart. So we're gonna get this one on, and you don't want to tighten these down. Really easy to do. Just take the other side of your half circle, your clamp here, and your small hex bolts, and you're just going to start them in here very simply and easily. And also, guys, what I would recommend is putting a piece of cardboard over your front windshield, unless you're really confident about not dropping your socket or your tool you're using. We're not going to tighten any of these up. We're just going to snug them here a little bit, and basically not even really going to snug them, we're just going to start them, and that'll keep them in place till we get the other side on and get our measurement between them. So I'm going to put these bottom 3 in down here, and then I'm going to go hook the back one up, and then we'll be ready to put the other side on. And we're just going to move our rear hoop back and slide that up inside the half circle, put our other half circle on, just like so. And same thing as in the front, we're going to start these bolts in here. And that's all we're going to do, is just start these in, and then we're going to grab our other rail and we're going to attach it the same way as we're doing this one, and get our 38 inches in between them for our walk plate that's going to actually go in here. We've got our measurements set for some accessories we're going to be adding to this later. So now we can go ahead and tighten everything up and get everything secured down. There you go, guys. That's how quick and easy it is to install the Kargo Master Congo Pro roof rack onto your Jeep JK. So remember, until next time, happy motoring.